Good morning. I kind of wanted to do a life update since the last video that I made in 2022. Wow. Wait, maybe 2023, December, I think, near Christmas. I was in North Carolina at the time, and I was in the Marine Corps School of Engineering. I finally graduated that in March of 2024 with a technical license in HVAC and knowledge in generators and electrical knowledge, so I can understand working as an electrician as well. Back then, I was making around $700 every 2 weeks, and my truck payment was about $700 every month, plus insurance, which was around I think 360-ish dollars. So I was paying around maybe 1,100 every single month for just a truck that I wasn't driving, which was back in Kansas. But I knew it was gonna pay off, so I put my head down and I studied really hard at school, and I passed. I passed as a class leader actually, and I'm very, very proud of that. I got good commendations from my higher ups. Wrote me a letter of commendation onto my military history. But since graduating, it's been a very interesting journey. I got a job as fast as I could once I got back home. I figured out that if I don't work, I'm gonna lose my mind. Not only did I not have any money coming in, I still had my bills to pay, see what I'm saying? And I knew that I understood that if I didn't keep up with my bills, I would just go deeper and deeper in the hole. And the goal was to clear all of my debt, just completely clear it and get to a stable place. And that's what I did. I put my head down. Every single paycheck, I'd drop around, I was making what, 17 an hour? So I was making maybe like $1,200 a month after graduating, which was pretty good. It was a really good raise. But I was dropping most of that money onto my credit card debt. I had around 7,000, no, actually $8,000 of credit card debt. Put my head down for about 6 months and just crushed that, completely crushed it. And at the same time, knew I understood that if I could pay off all my credit card debt, my credit would go up and I could refinance my car, my truck, at a lower rate. So I was paying 10% on a around $40,000 loan, which that was it came out about to be like about $700 every single month. And this was being taken out like bi-weekly. It was about, I think, like $365 every 2 weeks. Yeah. But I understood that if I got my credit up, I could refinance, and that's what I did. I got my credit up to around 680. I refinanced my truck, got it down to around 6% interest rate, which dropped my payments from $700 to $562, which is what I have right now. And with that also, I shopped for insurance over and over again, and finally got my insurance down to around $220. And what I learned from that was that not really honestly anything tangible. um I guess I already knew what I had to do, and I had already learned my lesson because the previous year before I joined the Marine Corps, I lived alone with my best friend, and that's when I racked up a lot of debt. That's when I saw my credit go all the way down. And once it went all the way down, when I bought my truck, is when I got like messed up with that interest rate, which was about around 10%, which is very, very high. On $40,000, 10% is a lot, especially when it comes to monthly and you're paying it over 6 years. And if you're not making enough money, most of that money is just going to your truck, right? And it's just a vehicle to get you from point A to point B. It wasn't making me any money. It was a liability. But I gained a lot of perseverance, and I gained a lot of knowledge on how to manage my money, on how to keep myself afloat. And the goal was very simple, just to get more money back into my pocket so that I could progress more in my life. I like to be very independent. I don't like relying on people, which is kind of a little bit difficult to say because my parents were very, very supportive. I'm extremely blessed, and I thank them so much, because without them I could not have done it. Perhaps I could have, but it would have taken so much longer, and it would have taken me perhaps maybe like 3 years rather than 6 months of getting my finances straight. But I finally refinanced my vehicle. Now my monthly bills went from around $2,000 to about $1,500. That's $400 back to me. And with that money, I just started saving up, saving up, saving up. And I think so far I've done very, very well. Another key point that happened was when I put my head down to work hard, I showed so much diligence that I went from making $17 an hour, and this is freaking insane. I still don't understand how this happened. From $17 an hour to $29 an hour in the span of 1 year. I think that's freaking crazy. That's wild. My paychecks went from $1,100 to around $2,500. I doubled my income in about a year, just from putting my head down and working diligently and following a goal. And I'm not really trying to give any advice. I don't really like giving advice because my situation is not anybody else's situation, you know? You've just got to look out for, number one, you've got to see where you're trying to go and what you're trying to do, and, you know, follow that. And I'd say it wasn't really about like being perfect at it. It was more of just like small increments of like just doing just the minimum that I could. It was difficult in the sense that I couldn't buy, you know, little luxuries for myself. I couldn't eat out. I couldn't do all this stuff. But even though I wasn't perfect at it, I still ended up making leaps and bounds. And also, I utilized my tools. The way I went from making $70 an hour to $29 an hour was by using artificial intelligence to help me with my work. And a lot of people might say that it's cheating, or it's, you know, it's not noble or something like that. My viewpoint on that is, who cares? You know, why should I care about what people think that I'm doing, you know, and limit myself, limit what I can do at my work, or what I can do, you know, to provide more value to where I work in order to progress myself, you see? So I utilized that, and how it happened is I got very, very lucky, extremely lucky. The guy who was training me ended up getting let go because he was not a good worker, and I took his spot. And I also got lucky in the sense that the company that I'm working for was very new at the time, so they needed people who could do work, and I saw leverage in that. And I was like, well, I don't know how to do any service stuff, but I've installed this equipment for the last 6 months. And through installing it and through the knowledge that I got from the Marine Corps School of Engineering about electrical stuff, I could understand how the system works. And if I know how a system works correctly, and I go there and I see that it's not working correctly in a certain sense, I can kind of figure out, you know, what's going to work. Added on to that, artificial intelligence, I ask it, hey, this is how this system works. This is what it's doing right now. Where should I start? And that's how I gained knowledge of being a service technician. And now I am one of the best service technicians in my company right now. And I'm very grateful for the position that I'm at, because I really did work hard and I put in the work, and I'm very grateful for how far I've come. So I just kind of wanted to make a video just kind of like timestamp where I'm at right now. I'm overflowing with abundance. Very, very grateful. I've got a beautiful girlfriend. I've got a great job going. You know, the winter's coming. I actually have money to spend to buy clothes that are gonna keep me warm for this winter when I'm working outside. Last year I didn't have any money, and it was brutal. It was, working at under 0 degrees of Fahrenheit here is completely brutal if you don't have the right tools. So this year I went out actually yesterday to buy, you know, gear so that I can be able to work outside. I learned a lot. I learned that, you know, wool is perfect. It's like a it's like a miracle. It's like a miracle material. It keeps you warm, keeps you going. It gets wet and you still stay warm even if it's 0 degrees, and that helped me out so much. So yeah, I went shopping yesterday and I bought all this stuff, and I spent a lot of money, but I'm still okay. it's crazy, and I'm very, very grateful for that, and I can share that abundance to other people. So yeah, that's perhaps I'm gloating, but I don't think so. I'm just doing a timestamp. I'd like to give advice. If I was to give myself advice back then, I would have said, use everything that you know, and don't be afraid to learn from other people. I learned so much from books about finance, of books about self-help. But the problem is with those books is that they can teach you not to be yourself. They can teach you to be a husk of what the book wants you to be. You don't do that, all right? If you read any self-help books, take the material, right, but incorporate it into your life. Don't become the person who is portrayed in the book. Perhaps becoming the person who's portrayed in the book is a good first step, right? But as you go on, as you keep learning, you'll realize that it's not about changing who you are. It's just about gaining knowledge and pivoting yourself and aligning yourself towards the direction of that knowledge, right? And based on your goal, my goal was to be completely stable and secure. And I knew to do that, there are systems that I had to arrange perfectly in order to be able to do that. And I arranged those systems, my credit, my vehicle, my income. I arranged those systems in a way that would let me progress even more to become stable. And now I'm here and I'm stable and I'm living alone. I can pay all my bills. All my bills are paid off right now. I still have a good amount of money in my bank account. I'm just chilling, and I can focus on my work, on my energy on taking care of my family. I can focus on my energy on doing good work, and I'm getting even more responsibility from my boss because I've showed that I can take on that responsibility. I've showed competence, and with competence comes confidence, and with confidence comes the ability to do more, and the ability to do more comes compensation to get more. And it's not about more, it's about what you want. It's about what I wanted. That's, I guess, what I'd kind of tell myself if I was younger. I was thinking about maybe taking this knowledge that I have and bringing it back home to Africa and teaching young men how to create abundance. And I see my boss, and he employs a lot of people, and through his employment my life has changed. What if I could employ a lot of people as well and change their lives? I think that's a very beautiful thing. I was kind of doing a little bit of research, and based on a few factors on like how the world is moving, I think air conditioning, could be a lucrative deal in somewhere like Kenya. And I don't know if there's any schools that teach that. I don't know if there's any schools that teach code. I could come there and teach code, the American way of doing things. And everything here is like outlined. You've got to do it like perfectly. Like right now I'm at a job site waiting for the gentleman who's going to show up, and we're going to walk through this building for an inspection. I'm going to make sure everything's running fine. If anything's not running fine, I'm going to document it, and then I'm going to send that invoice back to my boss, and then I'll come back here and do the work later. But everything is laid out how you're supposed to do it, and that structure I don't think is very standardized in my home country, unfortunately. So perhaps that's something to do, but that's about maybe like 4 years away. But I would enjoy to change other people's lives. I would enjoy to help, because with abundance you can keep it to yourself, but what's the point of that? Why not give more to others? If your cup is overflowing, why not put another cup right next to it for it to fill up as well? Soon that cup will overflow, and then it'll keep going. They'll fill up somebody else's cup, and somebody else's cup, and then sooner or later one person has helped fill up hundreds and hundreds of cups, and those cups have children and have families, and all these good things happen. And I think all that leads back to a lot of blessings, a lot of blessings. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put a timestamp. Perhaps things might go wrong, and you know, I lose my job or something happens, something crazy happens, you know, I break my hand or something like that, I don't know. And then, you know, I can look back at this video and say, wow, I was there. I can probably make it back there again. So it's good to appreciate yourself. It's good to appreciate the hard work that you've done. It's good to look around, you know, just stop and take a deep breath and realize that everything is as it should be, and it's moving along as it's supposed to be. So yeah, thanks for listening to my rant. Maybe I'll make more videos. I don't know. Maybe I'll make videos where I like teaching about HVAC or something like that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, thanks for listening. I'll see you around.